Grammar is not a cage, it's a compass. Well, friends, for most of us, the word grammar still gives us a little shiver, right? We think of red pens, we think of worksheets with endless blanks, and we think of teacher saying, "This is wrong," without ever telling us why it matters. And somewhere along the way, we started believing that grammar is this giant, boring cage full of rules we have to memorize or else. But here is the thing I have come to realize, and I want you to really sit with this. Grammar is not a cage, it's a compass. Think about it. A grammar is useless if you don't know where you are. It doesn't tell you where to go. It just helps you find out your way. Once you know the directions, and that's exactly what grammar does. It doesn't tell you what to say. It helps you to say what you actually mean clearly, precisely, and with purpose. So let me ask you something. When you learned the present perfect tense in school, I have eaten, she has gone. Did anyone ever ask you when you would use this in real life? Why would you choose this over the simple past? What does it say about how you feel about that action? Probably not, right? You probably just memorize the formula has or have plus past participle and filled in 10 blanks, and then you forgot it the next day because it had no life, no meaning, no reference, no connection to anything you actually wanted to say. That's the problem with the teaching of grammar in isolation. It becomes a foreign object, something you study for the test, not something you use to tell your story. Now imagine a different way. Imagine you are reading a news article about climate change, and when you come across this sentence, global temperatures have risen by 1.2 degrees Celsius over the last century. You don't need a textbook to tell you that's present perfect. You see it, you feel it, because that sentence is telling you something important, that the rise started in the past, continues in the present, and as a result, we are living with right now. That's not a rule, that's a reality. And once you have seen that structure in a news report, in a conversation, in a documentary, suddenly it's not a formula anymore. It's a tool. You can use it to talk about your own life. I have lived here for the 5 years. We have tried everything. That's contextual learning. You learn grammar through life, not apart from it. And here is the beautiful part. When you learn grammar this way, it doesn't just stay in your head as knowledge. It becomes a habit, a reflex. You stop thinking about rules and start thinking about choices. Because that's what grammar really is, a set of choices. Do you want to sound formal or friendly? Choose your models carefully. Do you want to emphasize the action or the doer? Choose active over passive. Do you want to show contrast or consequences? Choose your connectors with intention. Suddenly, you are not a student trying to avoid mistakes. You are a communicator, someone who knows that every word, every tense, every comma carries weight and precision that comes naturally. Because when you understand context, you understand that I worked here and I have worked here are not interchangeable. One says the chapter is closed, the other says this is still my story. Same grammar, entirely different lives. That's the power of contextual learning. It doesn't just teach you to be correct, it teaches you to be clear, to be credible, to be convincing. So, here is my request, whether you are a teacher, a student, or just someone who cares about language, stop treating grammar like a punishment. Start treating it like a superpower. And the next time you learn a structure, don't ask, what is the rule? Ask, when would I use this? Why would I choose this? What does this say about me and about what I'm trying to say? Because that's when the grammar stops being a cage, it becomes a compass. And with a compass, you can go anywhere. Thank you.